Venison is one of my favorite things to eat. Angel's got a lot of recipes, as do I, that we really enjoy with venison. I mean, we fill our freezer up as much as we can, whether we're eating at home, cooking for friends, or we're bringing it to deer camps, or wherever it may be. You know, venison is it's a favorite of ours. And I'm amazed at how many people I talk to that don't like venison. They're like, "Ooh, I don't want to eat venison." And I'm like, man, you've either, number one, never had it properly prepared, or number two, hadn't had it properly taken care of in the field, or number three, you've never really ate it. Because if you've ate it and you've had it taken care of in the field and properly prepared, I mean, it's just awesome to eat. The first thing about it is it begins in the field. You know, if you get an animal that's been wounded and tracked for a long periods of time, or it's warm outside, and yeah, the meat may not be as good, it's still going to be good. You're still going to enjoy the meal, but maybe you process it a little different. A lot of times in early season, if I've got a buck I've taken with my bow, I may turn that one all into hamburger. Conversely, if I take a doe later in the year and it's good and cold, we got a good quick kill, I may make that all into steaks. I'm kind of always in my mind thinking about the best, you know, what happened with this deer, how old it was, how it was harvested, how fast it was recovered, what's the weather. I pay attention to a lot of that to ensure that, you know, I'm really using the meat to the best of its ability. I've got a few key things that, you know, are mandatory to me. I want to, first off, recover every animal we shoot as fast and humanely as possible. Secondly, I want to field dress it and cool it down as fast as humanly possible. By that, we're going to get it back and we're going to field dress it in the field or back at the camp as fast as we can, and we're going to begin to cool it down and age it. I think that cooling down and aging process is really a important one when it comes to, you know, taking care of that meat. If you're one of those guys that sit around and on the back of the truck and pose with the deer and it's 80 degrees out there for hours on end, I mean, first off, you need to be slapped because you're not taking advantage of the best part of that meat. You're basically wasting a lot of it. I'm just a believer in that meat is equally as important as showing off those antlers. So let's get it cooled down, get it taken care of, and show proper respect to it. After we've gotten all of that done and it's taken care of, the processing part of it, I mean, I've got buddies of mine that process every little ounce of meat down to the last little piece that they can, and they've got the time to do it, and they've got some awesome recipes, and I've got other people that take it to processors to get that done. Regardless of which way you go, think about the end use now as you're getting into that process. Do you like hamburger meat? Do you like pan sausage? Do you like it spicy or not spicy? Do you want more steaks? Do you like jerky? Do you like cold smoked sausage? How do you want your back straps? Butterflied with bacon wrapped around them? Do you want your tenderloins whole? What about your hams? What about the shoulders? What about the neck? You know, are you making some stew meat? Are you making chili meat? What are you doing with that meat? Because the list is endless. So think about some of your favorite meals. Think about how your family likes it. Think about what you're gonna do with that deer even before you get it if you can, and then have that plan in place so as you're getting it processed, you can get the most benefit out of it. Then once you get ready to start cooking it, man, there's a million different ways that you can cook it. I mean, we love chicken fried venison. That's one of our favorites, but smoking it. I'm talking when you start trying to smoke venison and all the different ways that you can do it. You know, I love it wrapped in bacon with some cream cheese and some jalapenos in there. I also like it just as a straight piece of tenderloin or backstrap where you cut it into little steaks and you just put it in there and you're letting that smoke come out and you eat it exactly like that. You know, and I like it cut up into little hors d'oeuvres. I mean, you can take a piece and dice it up into little pieces with cheese and put it out for a football game or the main course, whatever it may be. I mean, it's just always going to be good that way. And then finally, I mean, well, let's see, you can make it into soups and stews and roasts, and like I said, the list is endless. So when it comes to venison, take care of it in the field, have a good plan. Whether you process it or somebody else processes it, think about all the cuts, think about the proper ways to cook it. Don't overcook it, don't get it too hot, and if you do get it too hot, don't let it cook too long. But I promise you, venison is one of those things that if you don't like it, you've just never had it prepared properly.
When we return, Wade shares some of his favorite venison recipes.
You know, there's so many different ways that you can cook really anything, but specifically wild game. And I've always said that some of the biggest things is finding a way to please people that don't enjoy wild game. And for me, that means coming up with unique recipes, different twists on the same old thing. And this is what I call jalapeno smoked venison backstrap. Now keep in mind, you can use any type of cut for this particular recipe that I'm talking about, and any specific type of wild game out there. We do some similar twists on this with doves and ducks and geese and elk and other species. This just so happens to be where we're going to be using backstrap, venison backstrap from a white-tailed deer in this specific recipe. And it's really simple. You can use any size cut that you specifically want. Right now I've got some little cubed up venison backstrap cuts right here, and I've been marinating it in actually jalapeno sauce, straight out of juice, straight out of the jar here, as well as putting some jalapeno slices specifically right in it. And then the next thing we use is going to be jalapeno cream cheese spread. This 1-2 punch is going to give it plenty of pop for those of you that really enjoy a venison meal or any meal with a little bit of a spice to it. The final thing that we'll do is we'll wrap it in bacon. I love to wrap things in bacon. I think it keeps it moist. I think it holds everything together. And who doesn't love bacon at the end of the day as part of the meal? Once again, this is a very simple recipe. We'll take the venison, the little cubes, or a full roast or a full steak, however you're going to be cutting it. We're going to lay it out. Then we're going to take a jalapeno or two and put it on top of the specific piece of meat, and then we're going to put some spread around it as well. Then we'll wrap it in bacon, put a toothpick in it. We'll put it in our Bradley smoker for an average of 2.5 hours. Now, depending on how many of them that you're cooking, you may need a little less, you may need a little more. Such a simple recipe to be able to do. Any type of wild game specifically will work. Any type of a cut will work, whether you're using filleted breasts from a bird, whether you're using chunks of steak from an elk or a whitetail or an antelope or whatever it may be. And you can cube it up. I've made this same recipe whole as well. A lot of times you won't see me spice it up as much as this particular one is right here. This one, we're really putting the pop to it, marinating it in jalapeno juice, using 2 and 3 jalapenos in the actual recipe, and then folding them over before we wrap them in the bacon. And that really adds some kick to it at the end of the day. Some people that don't like jalapenos, we've done other recipes in the past where we really haven't used any of that. We've used garlic, we've used Italian seasoning. I mean, there's a lot of different twists to this specific recipe, but this kind of goes back to our old original that we used to do years ago when we were doing doves. This recipe actually can be a little bit on the messy side, dealing with all the juices, dealing with all the cream cheese, but the end result is fantastic. And when you use a Bradley smoker like what we do here, you're basically, in my opinion, eliminating the scenario of overcooking a lot of times, which is one of the worst things you can do really with anything, but specifically with wild game. When you can come into cooking the wild game in this manner, with controlling the amount of smoke and controlling the length of time that you're actually in there cooking it, it allows you to do a lot of other things, but it also really ensures that you're gonna come out of there with a good tasting meal, whether it's trying to cook a full meal or snacks or whatever it may be.
Coming up, venison hamburgers and smoked crappie are on the menu after the break.
This is one of the most simple recipes I think that's out there and easy to do. It's my smoked barbecue bacon venison hamburger combination, and the essentials to this, ingredients wise, are venison hamburger. Venison hamburger is probably the #1 cut or type of processed meat that you're going to find out of venison. People use it for everything from Italian dishes to cheeseburgers to tacos and mixing with everything in between, and it's kind of the staple of what a lot of people use venison for. And so this is an easy one, but it's got a lot of kick to it. I start off by making a patty, and then basically I'm going to put 2 or 3 pieces of bacon across it. And in this case, I actually cut my bacon smaller. I take 2 pieces and cut it in half, and then I layer it just like that on each of the patties that I'm going to be putting in here. Now, whenever I'm doing anything with venison hamburger, I like to actually marinate it overnight or at least several hours with several different things. I may put like Tony Satchery seasoning on it. I love to, soak my meat in things like this right here and let it really soak some of that up. I think it really enhances the flavor that the smoker is going to kick off to it and put it to it once we put it in. The next thing that I'll do is I'll actually just take this exactly like it is right now, and I'll take a little barbecue. This gives it a little bit of kick, some barbecue sauce, and I just put a little bit of it kind of right up on top. Some people will take a knife or a spoon and kind of, dab it and daub it on there. Me, I just kind of squirt it on there. I don't care if it gets all over the place at the end of the day. I'm kind of a messy cook to begin with. If you even want to add more kick to it, you can take some jalapeno peppers and put on here, but I find that this, with the flavor we're going to mix into it from the smoker, really does about all that you're going to need. Then I'll take this and I'll put it onto my tray here. I'll put it in, and then I'll hit it with smoke for about half the amount of time that I'm actually going to cook it. And everybody likes their hamburger a little bit different. I like mine medium well. I'll cook it till I get close, and then I'll take a couple of pieces of cheese, put it on top, let it melt right on top of it, and then when you bring it out, you've got a meal fit for a king around a barbecue pit, around around your football games, around your swimming pool, wherever it may be.
Now, this episode isn't all about cooking venison. As hunters, some of us enjoy the occasional fishing trip, so Wade has a great recipe for crappie.
Crappie is one of the most popular fish across the United States for people to go fish all year round. So recently we've had some great trips, filled the freezer up, and I'm thinking, you know what? We're gonna try some blackened crappie within our Bradley smoker. And really, this is one of those simple recipes. I've melted a little bit of butter right here. This is gonna be a little bit messy because of the butter dripping off of it, but that's okay. We've got 6 really nice sized crappie fillets right here. And now all I'm gonna do is shake the blackened on here. And you really wanna use about a teaspoon. I generally use more. I like the spice. Now all we've gotta do is open it up, put it in, and adjust our smoker for the exact time and length that we're looking at cooking. Go do whatever it is we've gotta do and let the timer do the rest. This is an automatic unit right here. Every 20 minutes, it's gonna kick another biscuit into the water to help generate that smoke. You also have the option to do it manually with the little wood chip button down on the bottom, as I call it, and you basically push it and it's gonna kick another one out there. It'll drop another one in 19 minutes, and that'll be all the smoke that we absolutely need for this crappie recipe. Won't be long, we'll be eating good. Well, there's you some blackened crappie right there, and that's gonna be some pretty good eating. I think everybody that's not home today is gonna be pretty disappointed once they see us start plating this up, because that is a tasty meal right there, and it's so easy to cook in your Bradley smoker.
When we return, Wade shows us one last quick recipe for smoked venison sausage, and we'll wrap up our thoughts about the Bradley smoker. Stay tuned. Let's join Wade as he shows us a quick and easy recipe to cook venison sausage to perfection.
In a hunting situation when I'm in camp, I love to, make everything as simple as I can, because I want to spend most of my time out in the field. When it comes to eating, you want to eat as good as you can. I think at my age, I've kind of gotten over the beanie weenies and the pork beans to call it a day, and like to cook as good as we can. And normally Angel's here because she just loves to cook. And she goes to these massive meals, puts them all together, uses the Bradley in a lot of different ways. When I'm here, my goal is just not to make the guy starve. So since I'm getting ready to hunt this afternoon, I'm gonna throw some venison sausage in here, and it's so easy to do. I can throw a couple of biscuits in here of various flavors, Then all I've got to do is go throw my venison sausage in. And if you're a deer hunter, everybody loves venison sausage. I mean, that's one of the best perks of hunting. You get to kind of process your own or have somebody else process it. There's so many different ways you can make venison sausage. Then you basically get it ready to go cook. And a lot of times when we're smoking our venison sausage, we'll wrap it in bacon. We might put cheese in there, season it a lot of different ways. Today, I'm just gonna cook it exactly the way we've got it. It's already got a good mixture of flavors in here. We'll come home and some guys will wrap it in bread, some guys will wrap it in a hot dog bun, some guys will put barbecue sauce on it and eat it just exactly as. But the easiest thing about it is we're just gonna come in from the hunt. This part, the main course of our dinner, is already done.
Time and time again, the Bradley Smoker has cooked up incredible meals for us on many occasions. One thing is for sure, the possibilities are endless, and the sky's the limit. Here's Wade with some closing thoughts on utilizing a Bradley Smoker in your everyday life.
We're out at our deer camp right now, which is one of the many places that we like to do a lot of cooking and smoking and grilling of our food. And one of the ways we really enjoy preparing wild game and traditional food is through our Bradley smokers. And you'll see us use it around our pool in our backyard. You'll see us use it out here while we're out on the road. The simple reason is the food's phenomenal after you're done with it, and it's low maintenance. It's very easy to do. You kind of just pop it in there and forget about it. Set your timers and it'll do the work for you. For me personally, I like to really mix up a lot of my recipes when I look at the smokers. Everything from fresh fish that I've caught on a fishing trip, to buying shrimp, to cooking steak, smoking corn. Venison is one of my favorites in here, cooking pork. I mean, there's just, it's basically endless. Your imagination is, as long as it's however big it is, that's what you can do with your Bradley smoker. And they come in several different styles and sizes to kind of fit your personal needs. There's people out there that need real big ones, and there's people out there that need small ones based on what they typically cook. I personally like to have some of the larger ones, like a 6-rack model, for instance, because, if we're out here entertaining at camp or got folks over at the pool, I can put a lot more things in there than some of the personal options. But once again, it's up to you as an individual. And ease of use is something that I don't think can be forgotten in them. Whether you're using one of the original models that you basically just adjust the dial, turn it on and off, all the way to ones that have apps that you can control from afar, or ones that are totally self-contained like the model right here. Regardless of which one you use, they're self-sufficient and self-contained for you in a lot of different ways. But the final thing that I'll talk about is the magic biscuits right here. They come in a lot of different flavors, and that's what really tops a lot of these meals off. You can kind of pick the flavors that you like. And are you looking for that mesquite flavor? Are you looking for apple? Whatever it may be, there's a multitude of them. They mount right here and they drop down and they generate an incredible flavor that really tops off your food. So if you're looking for something that really is easy to use, that has a great flavor, that can manage it, whether it's you cooking for yourself all the way up to a giant pool party or feast sitting around your deer camp, I really think you need to spend some time, look at the Bradley smokers. We love to use them. You've seen them use them for years and really kick out some amazing recipes, from hamburgers to venison to crappie. So give them a look. I promise you, your taste buds will thank you.
If you're looking for the answer to simplified meals with a 5-star quality that come together with very little effort, then making the Bradley Smoker the newest addition to your home is the way to go. You can browse through the different Bradley Smoker options and all of the available accessories and biscuit flavors by heading over to BradleySmoker.com. And if you already have a Bradley Smoker, what are you waiting for? Get to cooking. Do you have questions about cooking wild game or a recipe you'd like to share? Send us an email at info@deergeartv.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.